Now at 10, we're learning more about what's behind a hefty price tag related to a Missouri data breach. Plus, authorities filed charges against a Tennessee man accused of shooting and killing a Pittsburgh woman. And what's behind increased demand for at-home COVID-19 testing kits.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A data breach could cost the state of Missouri as much as $50 million, and state officials are now revealing why the cost is so high. This is KOAM News at 10. Last week, Governor Mike Parson revealed a St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter uncovered a security flaw on the Department of Education's website. That flaw left the Social Security numbers of roughly 100,000 teachers exposed. At the time, Parson said it would cost taxpayers $50 million, but did not explain why. Missouri House budget officials today told Democratic lawmakers the figure was a rough estimate, and it includes credit monitoring and the cost of a call center to help teachers. House budget officials got the cost estimate from Governor Parson's administration. Authorities file murder charges against the Tennessee man accused of shooting and killing a Pittsburgh woman. The charges against Brian Baker include second-degree murder and possession of a stolen firearm. That shooting happened Saturday night in Pittsburgh. Officers were called to an apartment on South Broadway where they found the victim, 18-year-old Jace Delich. She died at the scene. The suspect in 2 Carthage hotel shootings gets prison time after changing his plea to guilty. Lane Stevens pleads guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree robbery for the August 2020 shooting, gets 10 years in prison. On August 1st of 2020, Carthage police responded to a report of shots fired at the Quality Inn. They found 2 gunshot victims. One victim, 43-year-old Don Pierce, died. The other victim was the suspect's estranged wife, 25-year-old Tony Stevens. She survived. Authorities arrested Lane Stevens a couple of days later after the shooting, arrested him in Lamar. Checking in with Doug Heading now for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Tuesday for us today. Temperatures fantastic, mid-70s once again. 76 for a high, 54 is where we started, so not as chilly as what we had over the weekend and then into yesterday, and a few notches above where we should be for this time of the year. Nothing going on. We have clear skies. We look great. In fact, most of the Central Plains, we have clear skies, but our next storm system is developing out across western parts of Nebraska. Most of this is going to shoot to our north, but it will give us a cold front, some clouds, and maybe even a few random showers tomorrow. Not tonight. As of right now, we look pretty good. We're sitting into the lower 60s. We'll only drop back a few more notches for us tonight. Southerly winds kind of keeping our temperatures up just a little bit as we work through the overnight hours. By morning, we'll drop back to about 58, 65 by 10, 72 by noon. High temp still up to 76, and then we'll start to cool down. Plus, we'll take a look at our next shot for thunderstorms here in just a bit.
Catch you then. One of former President Trump's key lieutenants could face possible jail time following tonight's action by a special House committee. The congressional committee investigating the deadly January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol unanimously recommended tonight to begin the process that could hold former Trump aide Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington.
The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection recommends former Trump aide Steve Bannon be found criminally in contempt of Congress for refusing to cooperate in its investigation. The former president's longtime advisor has refused to answer a subpoena to testify before the committee or supply requested documents.
It's shocking to me, shocking that anyone would not do anything in their power to assist our investigation. So it's a shame that Mr. Bannon has put us in this position, but we won't take no for an answer.
The committee considers Bannon's testimony critical. Maintaining statements Bannon made on January 5th suggest foreknowledge about the violence that erupted the next day, including remarks from his podcast.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. It's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen, okay? It's going to be quite extraordinarily different.
It appears that Mr. Bannon had substantial advanced knowledge of the plans for January 6th and likely had an important role in formulating those plans.
At least 4 former Trump officials have been served subpoenas, but Mr. Trump is urging them not to cooperate. He's filed a lawsuit to prevent the National Archives from providing key documents from his administration, which include details of conversations he had on January 6th. The former president insists he is covered by executive privilege, but the White House says executive privilege is not applicable here.
The former president's actions represented a unique and existential threat to our democracy that we don't feel can be swept under the rug.
Tuesday's committee action means the House will now vote on whether the recommendation should be sent to the Justice Department, which would then decide whether to prosecute. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
CBS News has learned the House will vote on the recommendation Thursday. President Biden is urging the Justice Department to prosecute. So far, Attorney General Merrick Garland has not said whether that would happen. A federal judge rules the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill can continue to consider race in undergraduate admissions. An anti-affirmative action group called Students for Fair Admission sued UNC in 2014. The group alleged the university intentionally discriminated against applicants who were white and Asian American during its undergraduate admission process. Yesterday, U.S. District Judge Loretta Biggs ruled UNC did not discriminate against them and said it can continue using race as a factor in admissions. She wrote, UNC has met its burden of demonstrating its admissions program withstands strict scrutiny and therefore is constitutionally allowed. She wrote the university engages in a highly individualized, holistic admissions program. Still ahead, we're going to look at an increase in COVID-19 testing demand in the 4 states and changes in the air in downtown Joplin. We'll look at what's happening and the obstacles local business leaders look to overcome. Local COVID-19 testing sites report an increased demand. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky looks at what's behind the increase.
Some COVID-19 testing sites have been busier than usual, but it's not from people worried that they have the virus.
A lot of people who have contacted us reached out because they're, say, attending a concert or an event where testing is required, or that their employer is requiring them to be tested because they're not vaccinated.
President Biden announced plans to mandate vaccinations or proof of a negative test for companies with more than 100 employees. That hasn't gone into effect, but some businesses are still enforcing the requirement.
We have also been contacted by several businesses that are going to be requiring, or they are required to test their employees that are not vaccinated.
Jessica Liberty with Freeman Health Systems says it's too early in the process to tell how this will play out.
It's too early to say as far as what ultimately each business or employer is going to request or require of each unvaccinated employee. There's just a lot of different moving parts.
But if more people need to get COVID testing as a result of a requirement, Liberty says it's important to make sure that the testing you receive is accurate.
There's a lot of different manufacturers that produce rapid COVID tests. So, and they all, they range in sensitivity, meaning some of them may not be as accurate as others. And, you know, with the vaccine mandate and requiring weekly COVID tests, you know, you need to talk to your employer and just, you know, come up with a plan with them to determine whether or not they will accept an at-home test.
Joplin health professionals say they aren't experiencing a shortage of tests either, but they also don't know what the future will hold. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, Nunnally also says the many flu symptoms can mimic COVID symptoms, and if you have any symptoms, it's important to be tested. You can get free testing any Thursday. It starts at 10 a.m. in Joplin. New businesses prepare to open as renovation work continues in downtown Joplin. Lori Hahn with the Downtown Joplin Alliance is working on renovations to buildings on the 900 block of South Main Street. Some of the building's exterior renovations are complete, and work is beginning inside to welcome new businesses to that stretch of road.
And just having activity on the streets and businesses going in and people going into the businesses, all of that increases the perception of safety and the feeling of safety, and just adds life and vibrancy to an area.
Han says she's hopeful improvements will continue throughout the downtown area and eventually expand to neighboring streets to the east and west. All right, now today's KOAM News Now Instapoll, we're asking, how much do you visit your community's downtown businesses? Your options are almost never, now and then, or often. You can participate in the poll at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on the final numbers here in just a bit, so participate right now. Later, we look at a new study that says e-cigarettes might not be the answer to quitting smoking.
Plus, a cold front is going to roll through tomorrow. What are we going to see with that? We'll look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. Temperature is fantastic, mid-70s for highs, plenty of sunshine across the region. We've had a nice little stretch of very nice fall weather. Great time-lapse indigo sky, casino and resort. You can actually see the trees are starting to turn. We're still several weeks away from our peak with the fall foliage, but it's coming here in about 3 weeks as the leaves continue to turn. But we've had really good temperatures the past few days. Actually, it's very comfortable outside right now. We're sitting into lower 60s. We're only going to drop back a couple more notches as we go through the overnight hours. But you can see most of the Central Plains fairly warm for this time of the year. And then you can see this sharp contrast. This is a very strong cold front out across Nebraska and parts of Kansas. You can see the drop in temperature, 50 in North Platte, 34 in Rapid City. Here's the key though. This energy is going to our north, so that's where most of the cold air is going to go. We are going to get a cold front. It's just not going to cool down a whole bunch as we head into Thursday and Friday. The southerly winds kind of keeping our temps up for us tonight, so I think we'll only drop back 58 to about 60 degrees. And it looks good right now. We still have clear skies outside, 63, south winds at 10, relative humidity, not bad, at about 60%. But we are going to stay pretty much clear skies for us tonight, just like what we have now. This is what we got across the Central Plains. Here's that storm system. You can see the spin out across western parts of Nebraska, snow several inches, Wyoming, up toward Rapid City. But again, most of this moisture is going to head to our north. With the cold front, we're going to get some clouds, may get a random shower, maybe a few sprinkles. That's really just about it. Tonight looks fine. Clouds increase during the morning, so we'll stop at noon. And you can see a few random little tiny showers. These all pass right on through, so by mid-afternoon, sunshine starts to pop back out, and our temperatures still into the mid-70s because the cold front's not going to roll in until late in the day. 58 to start, 71 by noon, high temp at 76, south winds at about 10 to 20. But behind the front, cooler air starts to work in for us tomorrow night. So unlike tonight, 58 to 60, we're going to drop mid-40s for us tomorrow night, and then a little bit cooler on Thursday, very pleasant, mid to upper 60s for highs, and then we'll start to see a switch. Temperatures are going to warm up again. Here comes a warm front, passes through late Friday into Saturday morning. We'll get scattered thunderstorms with it, not a washout. If you have outdoor activities over the weekend, it's fine. We're just going to have some scattered thunderstorms out there. This front lifts north. A little weak wave passes through late Sunday into Monday with a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms, but our best chances increase late Tuesday night into Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe, but we don't have to worry about that for about another 7 days. 76 tomorrow, 69 Thursday, 74 on Friday. Look at the 80s returning, 80 on Saturday, 80 on Sunday, 84 on Monday. But right past this, we're going to take a dip.
Whoa.
Back into the 60s late next week.
Now these cool nights and shorter days, we're seeing more and more fall color every single day.
It's really going to pick up here in the next week or two.
I think you're right. Thanks. Southwest Airlines is doing an about-face when it comes to employees requesting a COVID vaccine exemptions. The airline had previously said employees would immediately be placed on unpaid leave while their vaccine exemptions were considered. Southwest has announced it no longer plans to do that. Instead, the airline says exemption applicants will continue to work. Southwest will require them to follow all COVID mask and distancing guidelines applicable to their position until their accommodation has been processed. The Biden administration ordered all workers at companies that hold contracts with the U.S. government to be vaccinated or tested regularly against COVID by December 8th. Facebook has settled a discrimination lawsuit with the Department of Justice. The social media giant will have to shell out more than $14 million as a result of the settlement. The case alleged that U.S. workers were denied the chance for employment because Facebook reserved jobs for temporary visa holders. The company reserved those jobs through a labor certification program. It was also accused of using recruitment methods to deter U.S. workers from applying to certain positions. The company also has to change the way it handles permanent labor certification program job offerings, and anti-discrimination protocol training will be required for Facebook employees. A crucial test for Boeing's Starliner spacecraft has been pushed back to 2022. The aerospace giant said today Starliner still faces a long road ahead before it'll be ready to fly astronauts. The company is working on a propulsion system issue identified just hours before Starliner was supposed to launch for an uncrewed test flight in August. NASA and Boeing officials said the test flight is now slated for mid-2022. Starliner is years behind its planned entry to service. A new study says e-cigarettes are not the answer to quitting smoking. Researchers looked at nearly 13,000 smokers in the U.S. who had quit cigarettes. The analysis found 50% who quit so-called cold turkey were still off cigarettes at the second annual follow-up, but only about 40% of those who used any other form of tobacco, including e-cigarettes, had quit successfully. Researchers say if e-cigarettes were a viable way to quit smoking cigarettes, those who switched to e-cigarettes would have a much lower relapse rate. The study is in today's edition of the journal JAMA Network Open. Coming up in sports, the Frontenac Raiders aim for a district championship against Girard in the final week of the regular season. And a former Southeast Kansas high school standout begins his career at Pitt State. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
This week is a big week for the Frontenac Raiders. Frontenac has a chance to claim a district title Friday night, but to earn that district title, they'll have to go through one of the best in Southeast Kansas. Frontenac travels to Girard on Friday night. The winner of that one claims the 3A District 2 championship. The Raiders are 6-1, while Girard has yet to lose a game heading into Friday with a perfect 7-0 record. Both teams are 4-0 right now in district play.
This is one of those games you wake up Saturday morning and you know it's here, you're excited for it. You wake up the next morning, it's here. That's what you think about all week.
They have great speed, great athleticism, but I think we're a lot more physical and should be a great game to watch.
Explosive plays on offense. They got some speed. Quarterback's done a tremendous job getting to their weapons. Very aggressive on defense. Tremendous linebacker. Just great ball players. Coach Philpott's done a tremendous job. Girard plays extremely hard. They don't beat themselves, so they've just played well all season.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are in the middle of their first full week of basketball practice. On the women's side, Pitt State is just 2.5 weeks away from their first exhibition game at K-State on November 5th. Now, Pitt State returns 3 starters and 6 letter winners from last season, including Girard product Sidney Crane and All-MIAA selection Tristan Gegg, who put up 15 points and 4 rebounds per game last season. Now, this team will be relying on plenty of new and young players, so right now it's about getting them all up to speed and ready to compete in the MIAA.
A lot of new faces, and so the learning curve's been going pretty well. I think they're learning fast. They're really trying to get connected, and like I said, with so many new faces, that's hard to do. You got to really get people confident, get them communicating, and I think right now we have a pretty close-knit group. Having a preseason has been extremely valuable for us this year. We really needed it to learn, just more about ourselves and challenge ourselves.
On the men's side, Pitt State is just 10 days away from their first exhibition game. The Gorillas have 4 starters and 12 letter winners returning. With that said, Pitt State does have a few new guys, including Magic Reliford. Reliford is a Labette County High School product and transferred in from Neosho Community College in Chanute. Now here's head coach Kim Anderson on what he expects from the local guy this winter.
We need for him to shoot, score. He's a guy who can shoot the ball well. He's a guy that's got good quickness. We think he can be a good defender. we just thought he was an all-around good basketball player. Obviously, he's a local guy, and so I expect the entire city of Parsons to be here whenever we play. So, but great guy, works hard, and I think he'll be a big asset for us.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Petty Officer Second Class Michael Banta served in the U.S. Navy during Operation Desert Storm. His hometown, Coffeyville, Kansas. And we are proud to salute Petty Officer Second Class Michael Banta. He's tonight's 4th state hero. All right, let's check on today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. We've been asking, how much do you visit your community's downtown businesses? The overwhelming majority say almost never. This poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. Amateur astronomers will have a lot to see in the night sky this week. NASA says the next full moon, called the Hunter's Moon, will be visible tomorrow night, almost full tonight. The Hunter's Moon appears after the Harvest Moon, which is autumn's first full moon. It can usually be seen in October or November. Now, according to the Farmer's Almanac, the Hunter's Moon is a sign it's time to hunt in preparation for the winter ahead. The Orionid meteor shower is also active, but the full moon makes meteors less visible at the moment. But, you look out there, you might see the meteors as well.
Yeah, we're going to have clear skies most of the night, so that's pretty good. We are going to get some clouds, which are going to increase tomorrow. And then it looks like we'll get maybe a random sprinkle or two, but temperature still into the mid 70s. A little bit cooler on Thursday, and look at the warmth by the weekend.
Final sports note.
Missouri Southern football hits the road to Emporia State this weekend, looking for their 3rd consecutive win. We'll hear from the Lions right here tomorrow night at 6.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join Tanya and Michael for the morning show tomorrow, and let's make it a great one.